Welcome to Keeping It 100 Coalition Conversations, the official podcast of the National Coalition of 100 Black Women, Metropolitan Baton Rouge Chapter. I'm your host, Shanice Lewis, and today we have a very, very special episode. We are honored to be joined by Courtney Hunt, who is wrapping up her term as president of the Metropolitan Baton Rouge Chapter. Under her leadership, the chapter has grown stronger, forged impactful partnerships, and implemented programs that have touched lives across education, health, economic empowerment, and public policy. This conversation marks her final interview in leadership as chapter president before transitioning into the role of immediate past president. Tonight, she'll reflect on her proudest accomplishments, share the lessons she's learned during her presidency, and give us a glimpse at what's next as she continues her journey of service and advocacy. Courtney's legacy is one of vision, commitment, and sisterhood, and we are thrilled to celebrate her contributions on this platform, which she helped initiate. So get ready for an inspiring, heartfelt conversation with a woman who has truly made a mark, Madam President Courtney Hunt.
Thank you, Shanice.
So welcome to the show. Are you excited to be wrapping everything up?
I'm so excited. I was looking on our Facebook page and it's a picture on there and my face is just like when I was walking through the door. So yes, I am very excited. I'm just happy. There's no other word to describe how I feel. Maybe joy, because that was my message. I'm very joyful about wrapping up my presidency and seeing what's to come next for me.
So how did it feel to participate in the passing of the gavel and installation ceremony, and what did that moment signify for you personally?
I was very happy. I was overwhelmed. We have a very young chapter, so that was only our second passing of the gavel in our chapter's history. So it was very, very significant and monumental because we are really transitioning leadership. When I think about our chapter, we were chartered in 2016 and it's 2025. So we'll be 9 in November. So we're 9 years old. I have been the president half of the life of the chapter, and that's a lot. And so for me to be able to pass this over to President Piper, it was just, overwhelming. Like, I really was happy for all the sisters. I believe in leading and I also believe in leaving. And so I am at the point where I'm glad to be able to not be responsible. Being a leader is a big responsibility. So, we got some fresh wings, fresh wind blown into our chapter, and I'm excited about what's to come.
So when you first stepped into the role of president of the chapter, what vision did you have and how did you feel it has evolved over your term?
That's a big question. I have a big vision. I'm a big vision type person. And so I just had hopes for us because we were coming from a position of development. And I just wanted to make sure that we made our mark. And I think you know this as well as anybody. My main thing was to elevate our public profile because people would say, oh, I know about the 100 Black men. I didn't know we had 100 Black women. So one of my main focuses was to really get us out there, get our name out there, get us visible, and really just trying to do the work of advocacy for our community because, as you know, is needed a lot. And so, we had to take small steps and then we could take medium steps. And I felt toward the end, we were taking bigger steps toward that and really getting things done in our chapter.
So what leadership lessons did you learn along the way that surprised you the most?
I learned a lot of lessons along the way. Every battle is not my battle, I can tell you that. I learned how to hush and be quiet. And I think I learned how other people saw me. One sister said I'm a fixer. And when she said that, it kind of hit me in the face because if people call with a problem, my first line of defense is to try to fix it or make it right or correct, whatever the issue is. And so towards the end, I had to step back from that because it's not healthy. It's not a healthy posture to be in, always trying to fix things. Sometimes you got to let things be, and then everything will come out, how it's supposed to be. Um, and I also learned that it's okay to ask questions. I don't know everything, and our chapter is relatively young in terms of NCBW. So we're, like I say, 8. I'm gonna go ahead and say 9 because we'll be here in November. We're 9 years old, and so even upon our chapter being chartered, there's been so many significant changes on the national level. So it's always like a learning opportunity. And if I didn't understand something, I would always phone a friend. We had a good circle of presidents, sister presidents that were leaning on each other. I was actually able to go to dinner with one of them last night, who happened to be in town this week. And so just building relationships and just making sure I understood what my assignment was and that I was executing those things to the best I could.
So, how did you balance the demands of leading such a dynamic organization with your personal and professional life?
Whew, I don't know. You might have to ask my family that. I think I did a pretty good job. My personal life, I'm big. I'm a big time family person, and even the sisters in the organization, they'll know if something going on, it's family first for me. I'm gonna stop. If my daughter, who everybody knows, Jay, she's 16, but when I entered into this organization, she was 7, so she has really grown up in this organization. But if Jay had a rock skipping contest, I'm gonna be at the rock skipping contest, and so I just really had to set my boundaries and my standards that my family is going to come first. And, my job, I think I did a good job balancing that because there's synergy between this position and my day job. But they have me back now. So I know my leader is excited about that he got me 110% back. And I feel like some of my friends, I used to go on a lot of girl trips and do a lot of fun stuff. I'm gonna definitely be back doing that immediately. So I will be taking more trips and just having fun because I don't have to be somewhere, mandated to be anywhere. I could take my vacations and I won't have to be disturbed. And, I love to have fun. People know me, I'm a fun person. I like to do fun things. And so I think I did an okay job with balance, but sometimes, it may have become a little overwhelming and I had to take a step back. But I'm also a very reflective person. So once I figured out what was going on, then I could really make adjustments in how I need to operate moving forward. And so I had a little sickness, and I think that really pushed it into perspective that, girl, you can't save everybody. You just got to let it be how it's going to be. And that's how it should be, right? We got to let it take care of itself. So I think I'm doing better with it, if I could be truthful.
So, looking back, what accomplishments during your presidency made you the most proud?
Ooh, it's so much. I mean, every time we do a program that impacts um, Black women and girls, that makes me proud. I would probably say keeping us in good standing has made me proud, most proud,
Yeah.
because that ain't easy either. And I'm telling you, that ain't easy. But I think I would say probably our work around domestic violence and the accolades we have received because we were persistent in having those convenings and bringing together different people who can actually affect legislation and laws and community and make sure that women or victims, because it could be men or women, are really taken care of. And I think that probably was the icing on the cake because that's something we worked on year after year after year, and then it was manifestation, right? And so I think that's probably one of the things, but I'm also excited about the work we did this year around maternal health. I'm excited that we grew our programs every single year. And I'll use the Fascinated Breast Cancer event. We started off at the Grove at Auctioner with about 50 people. Then we went to the rec facility, sold out in 24 hours, raised the price, sold out in 48 hours. So that was an event that I think really, really proved to be an asset to the community, and how we advocated for women to know how to go into the doctor's office and fight for their self and know what kind of questions to ask, and things like that. So I have a lot to be proud of on the programming side, but also a lot to be proud of on the organization side, because we came in, we didn't have a website, we didn't have social media, we didn't have emails, jot forms, and so everybody working together to create a platform for us to be able to do business, right? So you can't just do business in the Gmail. We have professionalized our organization. So I'm proud of that. And it took all of us. I mean, you know, um, everybody has different skills and talents. And so we use that to make sure that our organization, I would say, is the standard. I'll put us up against anybody. We are the standard. Um, and even this platform was one, the annual report, all the things. It's so much. It's a lot.
So, what initiatives or programs do you feel have had the most lasting impact on our community?
Hmm, that's a hard one. Probably some of the ones that I mentioned, and the evolution of those programs. I would even say the health fair. We went from being at O'Brien House to being in the mini dome, right? And so it's like the evolution of all of the programs that we've done. I think that's the impact, because if it wasn't impactful, it wouldn't keep growing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, when I look back over it, I still want to say our policy, because we're advocacy, the public policy aspect of it. If you heard in my farewell address, I talked about the bills that we actually supported that passed. And that wouldn't happen if we weren't visible and present and having those conversations with our legislators to know what bills are coming up that are going to affect Black women and girls in our community. So, I mean, I don't know. I can't pinpoint. I can't pinpoint one. Domestic violence. I see someone saying absolutely in the chat. But yeah, we did a lot of work.
And what about mentorship too?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Mentorship. We grew that program. Um, all of them. I really, I can't name one. And then it was different phases of it. We grew our scholarships. So it's hard. It's hard to pick. Um, it's hard to pick one, because even with education, that evolved, right? And so we went from um, 10 students to 20 girls. So, it's constantly growing, and the applications are open now, ladies. If you want your 7th through 10th graders to be in our mentoring program, you can register those young ladies right now. I saw the newsletter go out today, and that was in there. So making sure, yes, look, I see my president in the chat. The national program, everyone can code. That was a extension. I'm gonna call it an extension of our education program, and I say an extension of, because when they first came out, we were so like, we had so much going on, we couldn't participate the first time, but they was on us. And Dinesh Piper, who was our incoming president, Madam First VP, she and Leisha Warren did an amazing job with those students. That's a huge commitment. That was twice a week, every week, for 8, 16, 30, how much? 24 weeks. It was a lot. It was a lot of it was a huge commitment. And so yes, participating in our national programs, everyone can code. And we participated in everything. I wanted to make sure our name was on the list. And so we did the voting initiative. We did videos. We did the hashtags. Some stuff was kind of easy. Mentees in the coding program turned to interns. So guess what? The ones who went through the program that will become interns, they can get paid now. So we really are putting our money where our mouth is when we talk about economic empowerment. When you go from being a participant to a payee, hey, you can't get no better than that. And I'm reading the chat, Shanice, so
So, was there a particular challenge you faced as president that turned into one of your greatest successes?
lots of challenges, but I'm gonna go back to the beginning.
Mhm.
I think entering with a chapter that was in development, that probably was the biggest challenge. But we had a dedicated team who was committed to making sure that this chapter flourished, and we went from chapter development to model chapter in 1 year. And I think that speaks to the talent in this chapter, that speaks to the commitment of these sisters in this chapter, and that speaks to our vision, because without a vision we could not have done that. We decided that we were not going to be a chapter not in good standing, right? We wanted to be the model, we wanted to set the standard. And so I think that was a biggest challenge, but it was also one of our greatest successes. And I feel like me and Madam First VP Piper, we were headed out of town when we got the call that we were no longer in chapter development. So we was hollering and screaming all the way to New Orleans because, because of the amount of work. It was a lot of work, a lot of late nights, and just really trying to right side our chapter and get us back on track. And they'll tell you, oh, you can do this, oh no, you can't do that, or you can do this. And so it's just a lot of navigating the waters and making sure that we could have all the things. And so as we started coming up, we were able to get our social media, we were able to do all of the things that needed to be done to make sure that Metropolitan Baton Rouge is a surviving and thriving chapter.
So, what advice would you give to the next president as she prepares to lead the chapter forward?
Well, you know me, I try not to give unsolicited advice. But personally, for me, I'm a very prayerful person. My daughter knows that I'm a worshiper. I'm very much in tune to my spiritual side, and I always pray about things, and then to make sure that I'm just on the right path. So I would say pray a lot, have those trusted advisors, people in your corner who aren't going to steer you down the wrong path, right? And then you have people that are kind of different sides of the spectrum. Well, I do. So you might have a person that's like straight up renegade, cut them, and then you might have a person, oh no, give them grace. And so you got to meet somewhere in the middle, and you got to have the ability to know when to do which one. My chief of staff, my director of administration is Dr. Catrice Tolbert Hill, and something she said to me early on really, really stuck with me. And I'll say this all the time: leadership is in the gray area, right? We can read the paper and it can say thus and so, but what is it really saying? And so if there's some type of mm, you can always do additional research to figure out what is the gray area. It's not always black and white. So leadership to me is in the gray area. I love her for that. Be responsive. We have sisters that they gonna call you at 6 a.m. I ain't telling you to call them back at 6 a.m. But make sure you
So, turn your phone off.
yeah, oh, absolutely. Do D&D from 10 8. Do not disturb, because and I'm a morning person. So, well, let me retract that statement. I was a morning person. I still get up, but my daughter drives now, honey. I don't have to get up that early anymore. I get up and I hear her go out. She'll tell me bye, and guess what I do? Roll over and look at that 360 and make sure she make sure she make it make it to school. But I try to respond, within a reasonable amount of time. Don't let problems fester. And probably my favorite is choose your battles, because you can't fight everything and everybody and what does say who and what and all of that. You can't fight false narratives and you can't correct every wrong. I just believe that everything comes out. What they say, what don't come out in the wash, come out in the rinse. What don't come out in the rinse, however it go, everything will come out how it's supposed to come out. And so, that's. I'll go back to what I said earlier. I just learned to be quiet because I don't have to fight that. If I know what the answer is, it's going to manifest itself eventually.
So, how do you hope the chapter builds on the foundation you've helped to strengthen?
Um, I I just hope we keep going. We have a really good reputation. People, somebody called me today. They want to partner with us. They've seen our work, and I think that's all because we put into place these mechanisms. We have our website. Our social media is popping. We got followers. We have our annual report, and we're about to produce our second annual report in the history of our chapter. And so when people see you're actually doing that work and you can prove it, you got documentation, you got receipts, like they say, you got the receipts.
Mm-hmm.
When you have the receipts, then nobody can shut you down because the facts is the facts, And thank you, Sister Daphne. What don't come out in the wash will come out in the rinse. So whatever it is, it's gonna come out. But yeah, so I think that we just keep growing and also embrace the vision of our next president. It was some things that I wanted to do that I just couldn't get done, but we are a busy chapter, and so I would like to say, I don't like to say I failed to get them up and going, but it's just some things I thought we could do because I'm a real grandiose type, visionary type person, and that might not be her vision. So whatever that is, I would hope that people would catch the vision and let it ignite so that she can really put out what she wants to as her term, as her presidency.
What do you see as the biggest opportunities for the organization in the next few years?
I think the biggest opportunities is probably our visibility, how we've increased our visibility, and we increase visibility because comes increased partnerships, but it also increases our responsibility. I know when I first was running for office, one of the things I said is that, and I said it to Sister Danielle Lewis, I want us to be the ones to call when there's an issue around Black women and girls. I want the 100 to be top of mind for people to call when there's an issue that we should be at the table on. And I think we've gotten there, right? I think that we are called upon and we answer that call and we show up. And so I think that's the biggest opportunity, that we build on our visibility. We build on really doing what we say we're going to do and really answering that call to advocacy when it knocks.
So, what has been the most rewarding part of serving as president?
I think seeing lives change because of the work that we do, and I'll try to do one like education. When the students come in, and Dr. Tirsla Williams Carter, she brought the LSU students in, so them being able to just see people who look like them working in these STEM careers, that is possible if that's what you want to do. And then giving them opportunities to see it ain't just about being a doctor, or, you could be able to do other things in STEM. And there's grant money and scholarships for you to do these things. So I think that's very rewarding, and then to be able to see professionals come in and us to train them how to be advocates, because guess what? Every single day we have to advocate for ourselves, if it's on our jobs, if it's in our personal lives, the kids at school, just teaching them that if you know something is wrong, you should have a voice and you should feel comfortable with putting your voice out with that problem. I think, we're teaching our next generation how to be leaders. I love that for us. And again, there's so much, like I could probably write a book and still not be able to adequately express all the things that um, I'm proud of with this organization. Um, we did a lot of work. I mean, if I'm being honest, when you look back, because I was going through some pictures and I was like, we 24/7. When do we sleep? And so because we're running 20 to 30 programs, and that's programs. I'm not talking about bringing in members. I'm not talking about all the other things that we have to do. I'm talking about just straight boots on the ground programming. We worked our tails off. And so I'm very proud of that. And um, I don't know. It kind of gives you the feels like we really did all that.
Well, how has this role shaped you as a leader and as a woman?
As a woman, I don't know. No. As a leader, I would say it's changed me as a leader. I think I'm a different type of leader now. Um, but as a woman, I think I'm proud of the work because I see all the things we have to overcome as women. And this might be a little controversial. As a woman, period, right? Black, white, whatever, Asian, whatever. But as a Black woman, it's even more challenging. And so when we continue to show up and we talk about the 92% and, all these different things, um, I just see that even though we say we're going to rest, we're going to sit this one out, we not, because we are used to being on the forefront of change. We are used to leading all the things. And so I just feel like as a woman, I'm still going to be leading. I'm still going to be fighting and I'm still going to be advocating no matter where I am. Now, my advocacy may look different, you know, for me, at this stage, but it's still going to be impactful. Um, so I think one of the things I've learned is to protect my peace. And I think I said choose my battles still. I would say that. Um, but I think overall, I am a better woman and a better leader. And I don't know.
And you know what? Sometimes you'll hear women say, "Oh, I don't have friends that are other women, and I can't work with other women," which I always find is a red flag. Like, yeah, you should be able to work with other women, especially Black women.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, absolutely. I for one, I am pro women, right? I love women. I love Black women. But just because whatever I put out, everybody don't receive what you give it. You see what I'm saying? And so it's the ability to be able to say, how do you interact with people? Um, and I think at the end of the day, everybody is really pushing for the same thing, right? You want to
mhm.
have a good living or stable housing, good transportation, food on the table, your health, right? Your health and your strength. And so I think if we stop looking at it like that, I'm not against you. I'm not in competition with anybody. Honestly,
Mhm.
I'm in competition with every day. I'm competing against myself. I don't know if y'all seen, but I've been walking. So every day I'm like, okay, girl, you ain't did your little walk. So if I can't do my 30 minutes, I'll do 10. So it's about deciding what you're gonna do and get up and do that every day. So it's not a competition because I think everybody should be pushing for the same good life and whatever. But I know, like you said, that's not always the case. But for me, I think that we need to get better with that and understanding people. I always say, and this is something I told our MBR leads people, we always make assumptions and interpretate things that, and you be way off base, right? I might just have a headache, and I come in, they be like, "Oh, she mean. What's wrong with her?" You know, and nothing is wrong. I got a headache, or I'm hungry because I was with my daughter today, and I was hungry, and I was getting to hangry,
Mm-hmm.
and so because we gotta we wait until the last minute with this homecoming stuff that I tell her every year. So I wasn't being mean to her. I was mad because I needed some food. And so, you just have to be realistic about your expectations. And I'm gonna say this. Now I don't know, we might be getting off the topic. But everybody got a job. I don't think people realize that this presidency is free. I don't get paid to do this. My first VP, Citizens Bank pay her. She don't get paid to do those programs. You know, everybody has a job, even you as a caregiver, right? So
Mm-hmm.
this work that we're doing is out of the goodness of our heart. It's because we are passionate about it. It's because what we want to put out into the community is something good that people who cannot do it for themselves will benefit from. But everybody don't understand it. They think you getting a check,
Did you get any gas money while
not
you?
a dollar,
Did you get any money for your hair to go on TV?
not one dime. So, but it's the gift that you give, right? It's the gift that you're giving to people. And so it's most of us give because we want to do it. We know that there's somebody that would benefit from the gift, and not because we're going to get anything in return. But sometimes people come at you like, girl, this your job. No, my job is at auctional. Who got these lights on in my house, you know what I'm saying? And there's food on my table and gasoline in my car. And so I'm gonna get to you after I get the bills paid. And so I think people miss that little context of what you're doing. Yes, getting up, going on the news, 6 o'clock in the morning. That might not always be ideal for me because I live way far away from the news station, like an hour in traffic. And so it's a sacrifice that you make. It's been sisters who've gotten up with me at that time of the morning. You, Tracy Pickney, uh, others, Angela Norwood, they've met me at the station. Courtney Janu. I shouldn't have started calling names. I'm going to get myself in trouble. But it's a labor of love when you get up and you do things like that. Because I could have still been asleep. But guess what? I got to get over there and still get back home to get my daughter to school because she wasn't driving in. So I had to still get back here and get her to school by 6:50. So it's like, all of the things that the sacrifices, nobody sees that part. And it's because you don't complain about it, right? But you're doing it because that's what you want to do. And that's what you love to do.
So, is there a moment or memory that stands out to you that you'll carry with you beyond your presidency?
Can I have two?
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
So one I'm gonna say is model chapter. When
Mm-hmm.
we were in, I think we were in Philadelphia, when we got model chapter with the perfect score. They didn't call our name. They was going down all these names, and I'm like, okay, I haven't heard our name. And so when they said model chapter with a perfect score of 100, we started screaming because, and it wasn't just us, right? It wasn't just us. It was all those coalition sisters who had poured into our chapter. It was those who had chartered us, those who helped us in chapter development. I think they was hollering, screaming, and jumping louder than we were, and they came running over to our table. So I think that's a moment that I really will really embrace forever because they was just, how people say sometimes people are more happy then they was happy. We was happy. Nah, we was happy. But I think they were even more excited for us because they know where we came from and they knew what it took for us to get that far. right? And I
Mhm.
think my second moment will be passing the gavel.
Ah,
And I would say that because, again, this is only the second time in the history of our chapter that we were able to do that. And so to me, that shows strength. That shows that we solid. That shows that we are leaving a legacy in this community. Um, and so I was very excited for that moment. And like I said, for me, I'm no longer responsible. So hey, I got all the fields, right? I'm thinking about how I got to check them emails,
mhm.
how that phone ain't gonna be ringing. So hey, I'm just over the moon about that. But no, being serious, y'all know I like to play. But seriously, I think those two moments were really defining moments in our chapter, and it's just something we build upon into the future.
So now that your presidency is ending, what's next for you personally and professionally?
Well, so personally, I will be doing a lot of traveling, um, just reconnecting with my loved ones and having a good time. I like to have fun. So when I was the president, I had to make sure that my priority um, was my daughter. And so I made sure that no matter what I was doing, me and her was gonna get one vacation, a long vacation every summer. So now I can do more quick trips. I won't have my weekends tied up or anything like that. My calendar is open and available if anybody want to go to breakfast, brunch, lunch, coffee, dinner. I've been doing all that. I've been doing that this week. I already started. So if you all want to connect with me, coalition sisters and friends in the world, one of our new sisters, she wasn't a sister at the time, but Latonya Isaac and I, we were supposed to hook up. We did the exercise at the Pay Equity event. Oh, I should have mentioned Pay Equity. Pay Equity. That is another amazing program we have. But we did an exercise at Pay Equity, and I was supposed to go to brunch with two people. The girl that came into the chapter, and we still ain't went to brunch. So I told her now I'm available. We gonna go. We gonna get that brunch. We gonna get it in. I still have my little card because I was committed to doing it. I just didn't know when I was gonna get the
You
opportunity.
had the time.
Yeah, so now I got the time. Y'all call me up. Y'all know my phone number. Just girl, I like to eat. Don't look like I miss no meals. So just call me up. Um, if you
Now,
want
what
to go walk in the park, we could go walking in the park. We don't have to eat, but we didn't go get ice cream after. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying.
now, what about professionally?
Oh, professionally. Whew, okay. Don't get beside yourself now that you have all this time. All right, Sister Gloria. I'm not gonna get too excited about it. But professionally, y'all know I'm always doing something, but I have a lot of passion projects that I'm working on. Shanice, you know about this because I let you in on my little secret. Um, I have been doing leadership for 29 years, and all of that came about in Shanice and I working on my next life, what I'm going to be doing next. But my goal was to launch my website on October 1st. It was supposed to be this big splash, and then life in 100 got to life in 100, and so I'm a little bit delayed. I'm not quite sure how far behind I am. But I don't think I'm gonna be too far off my mark. Hopefully by the 15th, I'll be able to break out. Professionally, I'm going back in the classroom in January. Y'all know I'm a grant teacher. I teach grant writing, so I will be back at Upper Iowa in January. I couldn't do a lot of teaching, but just because of the lack of my time. But in January, I'll be back teaching grant writing. I don't think they have the information out yet, but I do. I will be there doing that in January. Um, I'll be doing some workshops coming up. Let me see what else.
Some speaking engagements because I have a
I have
flyer.
engagement tomorrow. That's why we had to move the podcast to today. And I'm really trying to separate myself. And I don't know. I don't know that I really have to, because the work I did wasn't just about being the president. Now I might have spoke about president things, but I'm always talking about women empowerment and culture, and so I'm very intentional about separating the things that I'm going to be doing from this. I don't even think I mentioned probably maybe one line that I'm the past president of 100 in my bio. I took all that stuff out, and so I am going to be living my best life and doing the things I love, empowering, uplifting, educating, igniting fires under people, holding people accountable for their dreams, um, all the things that I love to do. Like, that's what I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to be doing it, as we like to say, unapologetically.
So you'll be speaking at this event tomorrow that we have on the screen.
Yes,
I can't read that light writing. Tell us the
it's culture. It's a women's organization at Southern. They invited me to speak, and I will be doing. You see, I'll be with Myra. I don't know the other young lady, but it's Association of Women Students that invited me to come.
So is it free?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that is tomorrow from 6 to 8, I think. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see it good. Okay, but in what ways do you hope to stay connected and continue supporting the mission of the chapter?
Girl, I'm going to the health committee. I done
Okay.
told y'all. I'm going to the health committee. I work so in my next life, right? I'm like, I've served on public policy probably since the beginning of the chapter. Uh, so I've done public policy, I've done economic empowerment. I haven't really worked on education and health, but because my job is in health, I said I wanted to go to health and do some work in healthcare because I do health equity. Um, so I think I'll be a good fit under a health committee initiatives. And I had another committee down, but I'm gonna pray about it, and then I'm gonna ask Madam President if it's okay if I move from my other committee that I selected. But I'm still trying to figure out kind of where I stand with that. But definitely, I'm gonna be there to support the chapter, like I have since day one. I'm not going anywhere. I'm still on the board as the immediate past president. Um, so I will be lending my talents and time to that. Um, yeah, I'm just gonna be here happy.
What legacy do you hope members and the community at large will remember for you?
Hmm. I guess the main thing is I kept the chapter in good standing. That's a big one. Because I think when you inherit something and that something needs development, you take it from a different lens, right? You try to kind of make sure it's like a newborn baby. You know, you're gonna handle it with care. You're gonna make sure you don't drop it. You're gonna make sure um, it's just very well taken care of. You keep it warm and all the things. So I think there was a certain pressure in inheriting a chapter that needed a little extra care, and so with that, I hope that I extended grace to make sure we have a chapter 4 years later at the end of my term, at the end of my second term. Um, I think that I want my legacy to be that when people that I am a person who did what I said I was going to do, um, and that I made every sister feel like they were important and that they matter in this chapter. Um, and just giving a human side to leadership, you know. Um, so I think that's what I want my legacy. And I showed up. I showed up
You
for the
showed
people.
up for our events and for community events. Well, sometimes I was like, Courtney, you ain't got to go to that. Just rest. Like, girl,
Well, let
stay
me tell
home and
you,
rest.
because in the beginning, I think my first year, I didn't miss anything. I was at every single thing. And again, it's because when you have something that's fragile, you want to make sure that you're really taking care of that thing, and you really want people to know that you care authentically, not just because, but I wanted people on those committees to know I support you, you know, whatever.
Well, I know you want to go to all of our events, but you go to everything you invited to, too. Now, you don't have to go to everything you invited to. That's outside.
Well, that's a part of being a leader, right? How do the people gonna know the chapter because your leader shows up and shake hands and make the connection, can bring back resources, right,
True.
to the
That's true.
chapter. So um, I think that's what that's what it was about, elevating that public profile.
Mhm.
However we had to do it. And if I couldn't go, I had a first VP, second VP, third VP, and the further we got down the road, I would call those lifelines. Hey, I'm not
Mhm.
gonna be able to do it. Can you go? And of course they can. And so you want to make sure, and that's another thing I think that I didn't even talk about this, but succession, you know, it doesn't always have to be me, right? You have people that are in line now who can lead this chapter. Um, you know, we need to get people to these conferences. We need to get people leading in these committees and just being able to make sure that this chapter can withstand the test of time. And the way you do that is you get people in the line, right, to be able to take over. Um, and we did that. You know,
Mhm.
could we have done more? Yes, we always can do more. Um, but I think we did a good job with elevating sisters, other sisters identifying sister strengths and saying, "Hey, I think they'll be good over here," you know, because I'm not on all the committees, or I can't see who's doing the work, but really leaning into those leaders to identify who could lead, who could be next, right? Who can lead now, and who was leading at the time, who was raising their hand, who was really following through on the assignment, and then who was just talking, you know. So just leaving a legacy of we got sisters coming up that are going to be able to run this chapter. I am privileged, and I'm gonna say this, that I can go to immediate past president, because a lot of my sister presidents can't do that because their chapters are small. Uh, People don't qualify, so they may be going from president to first, a president to second, a president to I don't have that issue. I'm going to my seat where I'm gonna sit. But when my name is called, I'm gonna do my job, and that's what I'm gonna do, and that's what I've done before this. So I'm just gonna be a regular member.
All right, that sounds good. So we mentioned you have a speaking engagement tomorrow,
Yes,
and you are going to be teaching your grant classes again at Upper Iowa.
yeah.
Anything else you need to plug before we wrap this up?
Okay. So the thing tomorrow is I had it here. The
Okay.
Association of Women Students She is Culture event. I have I've always had private contracts that I work on. Uh, but I'm also building out a community engagement, event planning side to my business because I think that it's important to teach people how to do certain things around engagement, government relations, and stuff like that. So hopefully in Q4, I'll be able to get that up because I have so much time, girl. We have time to work on my and then I have some exciting partnerships that I'm working on that I can't talk about, but y'all will see. We coming. We gonna bust out. And yeah, that's it. Oh, and I forgot. Somebody said this in the passing the gavel. I'm gonna be a dance mama on steroids. I'm already a dance mama, but I'm gonna have energy, girl. I'm already loud in the stands. I'm gonna be so cuckoo. Jay probably gonna be embarrassed, but I don't care. We got homecoming this week, baby. I'm gonna be in the building. So. I'm gonna be a super duper dance mama. Period. And that's the badge of honor I'm gonna wear. And I'm really excited about that because, like I said, my daughter was 7 when I came into this organization. She's a junior. She only have this year and next year, and she'll be graduating and moving on. And so I'm excited about the opportunity to be available to just spend time with her if she want to, because she be having a busy schedule,
Right,
without me.
right. So it looks like you still gonna have a lot going on.
Oh
And
yeah.
so how can we keep in touch with you and what you got going on? What's your social media pages and if you want to give your website?
Yes, my website is CourtneyLHunt.com. I don't know, it's under construction, but I don't know if she took it down yet. Because I checked the other day because she was waiting on me. So working on the restructure of that, but it's CourtneyLHunt.com. My email address is Courtney@CourtneyLHunt.com. Follow me on social media. My Facebook is Courtney L. Hunt. And my business page is Courtney L. Hunt Coaching and Consulting. Um, my Instagram is Courtney L. Hunt CC. I haven't been active on my pages because I was trying to do everything, but it became overwhelming. But I'm busting out in Q4. You're gonna see me back on my page. So with all the things. So I like to motivate people. And so my page was really like a motivational type page, but I'll be also really promote my business and all my fun projects that I have coming up. So I'm excited.
Well, it was a pleasure speaking with you and reflecting on your accomplishments and everything you were able to do for 4.5 years as the leader of this chapter. That's a long time to be volunteering.
It sure is. I could have been I could have been setting myself up to be retired by now. I'll be thinking back over my life and be like, "Girl, what you be doing?"
But you wasn't what you didn't get paid in money for. You rewarded in other ways.
Absolutely, and I mean, it's the impact, right? It's impact, and if your life isn't impactful, what are you doing? And I don't typically raise my hand to do things that I know I'm not committed to doing. So even here in the 100, I still serve in my sorority. I don't raise my hand if I can't do the task. And if I can't do it, I'm gonna communicate with somebody to let me know, hey, I'm struggling, I need help. And so if you have to let your light be just that, let it be light and commit to it and make sure you're doing what you said you were going to do, because that's what people are going to remember. When I called her, she didn't answer. She said she was going, whatever. And that's where the problems come in at, because I tried to, and I'm going to tell y'all this too. I ain't the best person in time management, honestly, but I had a system. And the people in the organization probably tell you that. They might get an email from me at 5 to 6 in the morning, because when my daughter got him go to school, I would just get up and do my emails and get that out the way. Now, then I got to go to work. So if I had time in lunch, I'll check, and then again at night. So I had to come up with a system so I wouldn't drive myself crazy. Um, but if you can't figure it out, then let somebody else do it. And it's that simple. You could just be the helper. It's okay to be a helper. You could be an Indian or a chief, either one. It's okay. A good team member or a good leader. But if you're gonna be a good leader and you commit to that assignment, make sure that you complete that assignment. And Shanice, I know we at our time, but when I took this job, it was an interesting time. And so first I talked to my daughter about it, right? Because it's just me and her. So I wanted to make sure she was okay with it because I knew and understood what the commitment was gonna be, right? That's gonna take time out of my house. And um God clearly told me that this was an assignment for me. And I had to really, really lean in on that because disruptors will try to come in and take your focus off your assignment. And so when people would come in and do things and it was all kind of roadblocks coming in, I had to stay focused on that assignment. And he was like, it's about the mission. You just got to stay focused on the mission. And even full circle at the end, it was kind of my coming in and going out was very similar, but I always had a ram in the bush to tell me, baby, this is just a test. This, how you handle this, is going to determine if you go to your next level. And I think I have handled this because understanding that circumstances will try to steal your joy. I'm a very happy person. And when I knew I was leaving this position, honey, it just was like I lost 35 pounds instantaneously. My joy is full, radiant. This is who I am. I don't have to be stiff and presidential, and all the things. I could just be my joyful self, right? But people will try to steal your joy. They really will. So you have to just really be mindful and understand who you're working for. And that's probably one thing I'll tell the next administration. Why are you here? Who you working for? You can't let those disruptors, naysayers, everybody trying to tell you how to do something and the right thing to do. So you just got to stay focused on that thing that is before you that God has assigned to you to do. And I hope that he is saying, well done, my good and faithful servant, because I have been baptized by fire and tested. But guess what? I stayed on my assignment. And as of tomorrow, I've already kind of given it away. But hey, the next group of leaders will take this chapter to higher heights, and I'm gonna be there to support them every step of the way. So thank you, Sister Shanice. And I want to thank all my sisters that are watching. Thank you all for believing in the vision and the mission and the passion and the legacy of our chapter. And Shanice probably got a lot of me because I'll come to her and be like, can we do this? And she'd be like, well, let me see. So you have to get people who are in your corner that'll let you do an annual report, that'll let you be on the billboard, that'll send you the news station at 5 in the morning when you still got sleep in your eye, or whatever the things are. So thank you so much for being a good sister and a very present help for me during my administration. But President Hunt, dropping the mic. I'm like Obama. I'm out.
Signing out. Well, President Hunt, you're going to go from President Hunt to Sister Hunt.
Yes, just call me Sister Hunt.
Well, thank you for being on the show. Thank you for all the work you've done. And thank you for everything. It's been a pleasure. And I mean, you're not going nowhere, like you said. So we look forward to seeing your next chapter and
Yes.
the more amazing things you'll be doing.
Thank you, sisters. I love y'all.
We love you too. And so Before we go, I want to shout out our sponsor, that is one of our sisters. It is Beauty is Confidence, and Fierce Beauty by Toy is here to help you own it. Thank you to Fierce Beauty by Toy, the official cosmetics of Keeping It 100 Coalition Conversations. Visit marykay.com, Latoya S. Johnson, to shop the latest in skincare and cosmetics. And don't forget to follow her on Instagram at Fierce Beauty by Toy for tips, tutorials, and a dose of daily inspiration. And so we want to thank President Courtney Hunt for being my guest on the show this evening, and for all of the phenomenal work you're doing and will continue to do. To stay up to date with everything we are doing, make sure you visit our website at ncbwmetrobr.org and join our email list so you can stay up with everything we're doing. You can also give us a donation through the website by clicking on the donation tab on the menu. I've been your host this evening, Shanice Lewis, and on behalf of the Metropolitan Baton Rouge Chapter, and for one final time, on behalf of President Courtney Hunt, thank you for tuning in, Keeping It 100 Coalition Conversations. Until next time, be blessed.